Hello YouTube, Tammy here with hopefully a quick video for what I've been working on. Start off with, there's a very good chance I'm going to have this project done by Friday. So if you wouldn't mind, please go over to my post, and I think it's like the second, within the first 3 posts that I have there, I have a poll up for the next 3 items that I would like to pick from my head to toe winter knits book. So the current project I am working on is the leaf scarf that you guys had picked out for me in the last poll. And here's a quick look of the model wearing the one in the book. Now, oh boy, this has been something else of a project for me. I've had to rip it back multiple times. First time was 3 weekends ago. I was at the camper, took it with me. I thought I kind of knew cables well enough to go ahead and start making the project. Now, I cast it on the proper stitches. Very first row was not right. And then when I read the second row of the 32 row repeat pattern, I thought, okay, I really, really, really don't know what they're trying to tell me to do here. So we're just going to scratch it, do it when we get home. So that was fine. I get home. One of the first things I do, I get my laptop up and running. I get looking at some YouTube tutorials explaining these different stitches and exactly how to do them, because the abbreviations at the front of the book, one of them wasn't even listed. I'm like, and that was one of the ones I needed right off the bat. I'm like, okay, this makes no sense. So let's wing it with YouTube. So that's how I did it. Was able to find the pattern or the stitch tutorials I all needed and went to town. Now, like I said, this pattern is a 32 row repeat, but it's done in 2 sets. So you got your front 16 and your back 16. Is like the best way I can describe it. And what that means is, with cables, there's a couple different type of cable needles. I know there's one that's like a little fish hook almost, like it's got a long section and then a little hook that like for a J or a fish hook. This is the one I have. Here, let's move it there. I think this is pretty much the standard cable needle that exists out there. Other than this other one, which I've seen it a couple times in stores. I've never bought it because I've got 3 of these ones. They work great. So what I'm referring to as in the first 16 or the front half and the back half is my hand is the project. This is the cable needle. Towards me, I'm going to call that the front, and away from me, so towards the camera will be my back. So if I'm working on the first 16 rows, when you put a stitch on here, you hold it in the front of the work. So you guys can't see the cable needle, right? Then in the second half, when you're doing a cable stitch, you put your stitch on here to hold it before you got to work it. You put it in the back, which now you guys can see my cable needle. First attempt at the second, or the first 16 row, or 32 rows. First 16 worked up great. I could see the pattern, the design. I thought, oh my goodness, I love it. I love the yarn I chose, everything like that. I started doing the second half of the 32 row repeat, so the back half. I think I was 3 rows in, and I'm looking at my work thinking something does not look right. Like, it's way wrong. So I decided, okay, I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong, so let's pull out some worsted solid color yarn. I figured, okay, it's a 9 stitch pattern. Repeat it 4 times per, like, on each row. And then there's 8 stitches, 4 on each end. For the edgings, I just did 2 on the end and then 9 in the middle. So it would have been 13 stitches I cast it on. I think I started on row 14 or so. So I had a base that I knew was correct. And then I got started in the back half of the pattern. And the first row, I did it the way I did it in my actual project. And then the second one, I was looking at it, it clicked. I was holding the needle in the wrong spot. Instead of holding it in the back like I showed you, I was holding it in the front. So I had to rip out those 16 plus 3 rows, so 19 rows. Thank goodness I wasn't very far. Then I recast it on, started again, got through the first 32 rows, smooth as butter. No problem whatsoever. I got the front half of the second repeat, so the first 16 rows done. I was working on the back half of the 32 stitches, so 17 through 32 rows. I don't know, I think I was a couple rows in, but I don't remember exactly what. And I realized I made a mistake, and I was trying to back stitch it to get it back to the beginning to redo it. And it was wrong. I don't know that. Because some of the rows you got to knit in the back part of the loop. Some of the rows you knit in normal. And that row in particular was knit in the back loop, and I wasn't putting them on the needle. I just made a mess. So I thought, okay, let's rip it out and do it again. So this is tear out now number, technically 3. Tear out number 4. I was just literally, like, recently, I think it was last Monday or Tuesday. I think it was last Monday. So a little over a week ago. I'm working away again on it. I had the first set done. I was working the first 32 rows done. I was working on the back half of the next 32 rows. And the one row, because I had to fix the previous row, and I was able, at least I thought I was able to, back stitch all my stitches from my right back to my left needle. And then I worked it. Didn't realize it was wrong, but thought I had it right. And then I did the next row, and it was not working out, so I back stitched it. Because it's easier for me to back stitch it than to rip out that row and pick up all the stitches, because that's when I usually lose stitches. And then all of a sudden I'm realizing I'm short 2 stitches. Okay, something's wrong. So I'm looking at the current row I worked, couldn't find the drop stitch. So I ripped that row out and picked up the next row down, the previous row I did, put it back on the needle, looked at it, counted it, realized it was missing a stitch. So where did I drop these 2 stitches? I really don't have a clue. It was like, oh my goodness. Okay, let's rip it out, start again. So when I showed this off last Wednesday to you guys in my whip video, which I got the stitch marker at the current spot, that was once I ripped that out on Monday. And between Monday and Wednesday, worked my butt up to get at least to where I was the previous Wednesday when I showed it to you. So yeah, for 2 weeks in a row, I was more or less no further ahead than I was previously. So then I got it going again. And then I got 2 sets completed, so 64 rows done. And I decided I am going to throw in a lifeline. Now, I know there's this cord that you can buy off of Amazon, and it's more or less if you've got one specific pair of knitting needles, like circulars or whatever, or even straight needles, and you want to kind of work between 2 different projects, or if you got to take a lot of stitches off to hold while you do something else within the project, you can thread them onto this long cable type cord, and it will hold your stitches. I thought, well, I can do that with yarn, and when I get to row 32 done, and it's correct, of the second set, I got a long piece of yarn, so there's a nice tail on each side, and you will see it in a moment. And I, with the darning needle, like I put all my stitches more to the butt end of my needle, so like not the pointed end. And with my darning needle, I carefully threaded it through all the stitches. And then when I finished the first 16 rows, so the front half, as I like to call them, I tore out the yarn and I re-threaded it in through row 16, so that if on the back half, which like I said, that's where I seem to be making my mistakes, and I've got to rip it back at some point, I know I can tear it back to this lifeline, which I had to do over the weekend, and I won't lose any of the stitches. The stitches will all be facing the correct way, especially if one of the stitches is or I gotta do stitches regular knit or knit in the back part of it. So I am 3 rows off from finishing set 3. And it's 4-set repeat. So down here where my finger is, where the stitch marker is, this is what you guys all saw last week. Up here to the stitch marker. Since then, I've done all of this. I know you guys can see the pattern. It's actually a really neat pattern. It's actually not that hard. It's more just time consuming than anything. It would be easy pattern to convert into like a little latgan, or like if you want to do like a baby blanket with kind of a neat texture or something like that. This pattern will work out very easily, and as long as you keep track of what you're doing and you don't lose your spot and stuff like that. Now, like I said, one other, I think last weekend when I showed it off, when I rewrote it in my book, I kind of color coordinated said stitches and my repeats. And I've got like a ledger here of what's what. But it's coming along. Now when I started this, I had a partial cake because I used this yarn to do the collar, well, the button band, which I didn't put buttons on, and my cuff of my sweater I was working, well, cardigan, short sleeve thing. I made it last month. So what I had left was a good amount, and I thought, okay, am I going to have enough to do it all with just what I started with, or do I have to break into my second cake? And I'm using the Caron Blossom cake. This colorway is called Bark. And there's a full cake just so you can see it better. It's a really nice color. It's very neutral beiges, tans, browns, like a grayish brown almost. There's a bit of an orangey color in it, but it's very pretty yarn. It is a size 4 weight yarn. Very soft, very squishy. So I got working with it, and a couple different times I kept telling myself, yeah, I'm going to be down to about 2 or 3 rows till the end. So more or less where I am now, plus another 32 stitches, so I'm on repeat 4, not repeat 3. And I'm going to have to tie in the other cake. Well, now that and the one I've got wound up, I've been working it from the outside in. So of course, as it's getting smaller, you gotta take more off to do 1 row. I've got, like I said, 3 more rows to do of repeat 3. And I'm definitely going to have to cut into the cake a lot sooner than I think. Like, that's tiny. I think once I get these 3 rows done, there's not going to be much left. So I'm going to have to cut into the cake a lot sooner than I thought. But I'm okay. Like I said, I've got a full one, so good to go. But I do plan to have this hopefully done for Friday. And like I said, if you wouldn't mind going over, put a vote in. It's more entertainment for me to see what you guys pick and what project I will work next out of that book. I will not have a video tomorrow for things we're making Thursday. I'm going to wait till next Thursday, which is the last Thursday of the month. Do a little slideshow for you guys of previous bags I've made. And to mention to you what the next project will be for the month of June. So, and then, like I said, hopefully Friday I will have a finished project for you. I may actually put up bingo tonight. I'm just waiting to see if one of the other ladies are going to host one tonight or not. So keep an eye out. Maybe within the next hour, I may be going live with a bingo. Never know. I do know maybe Thursday, since I'm not doing a video tomorrow, I may go live tomorrow for a little sit and craft chat mid-afternoon. It'll be sometime after 2 p.m., like 2 p.m. on, like, because then both my husband and son are both out of the house and nice and quiet. So keep an eye out for that. I may go live if you want to just sit and chat and hang out. Watch me work on this project a little more. And hopefully no major mistakes while I'm trying to do it live. I may do the lifeline every couple rows just to be on the safe side. You never know, right? But anyway, so guys, thanks for hanging out. I will catch you all later. Have a good day.